Yeah, that's just something I do when, like, I guess I'm like falling in love.
The following footage has never been seen before. On January 22nd, 2025, a 15-year-old girl stepped out of her home in the late-night hours to retrieve clothes from her mother's car. However, she never made it back inside. 5 days later, police are called to a quiet neighborhood home in Hollywood, Florida.
So my niece has been missing for 5 days. We've been searching, from Ormond Beach, which is up like next to Daytona. I did a whole...
You said, "I want you to have my kid." That is what the 24-year-old man told detectives when they asked why he had said he wanted to impregnate a missing 15-year-old girl. He said it was just something he did when he was falling in love. A 15-year-old child. A man with a lock on his bedroom door. A family that drove across the state to find her. And a state attorney's office that, in the end, simply let the case go. The public record tells a story that is not about romance. It is about control. Before we go deeper into what the documents actually show, make sure you are subscribed to Police Bodycam Legal Analysis. Because we do not just cover the story, we follow the evidence. Here is the visual anchor for this entire case. Picture a standard residential doorknob. Now picture that same doorknob installed backward on a bedroom door. The locking mechanism is on the outside. The person inside cannot open it. They cannot leave. That single piece of hardware is the quietest kind of crime scene. It does not need a weapon. It does not need a scream. It simply means that every time the door closed, a 15-year-old girl became property. That doorknob is the difference between a runaway and a prisoner. And nobody in that house needed a warrant to understand it. A woman finds her missing 15-year-old niece at the home of a 24-year-old man. The aunt had done what the system could not do fast enough. She did her own police work. She traced online activity. She found an address.
So my niece has been missing for 5 days. We've been searching, from Ormond Beach, which is up like next to Daytona. I did a whole bunch of my own police work and found his mom's address.
Who's he?
He is, I'm so mad, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Edward Rummel.
Investigators identified 24-year-old Edward Rummel through the teen's most recent internet activity. When his name...
She stood between the man and the child and said, "Go get in the car."
So we hurried up and drove over there, and we put the Tahoe behind their car, and I got out of the car, I looked at her, and I was like,
What'd she say?
"Get in the car." And so I walked over, and he's like trying to not let her go, and I walked over, and I put myself between him and her, and I told her, I said, "Go get in the car."
Right.
And he was like, "Can we talk?" I was like, "I promise you don't want to talk to me."
And then he instantly called somebody on the phone.
Then the brothers were like in the, throwing signs out the window, and
That was the moment the search ended. But the investigation into what happened during those 5 days had only just begun. The girl's mother was told the news by an officer. Her anger was not performative. It was immediate. When asked if she wanted to prosecute, she did not hesitate. Yes, and the officer made a promise. He will go to jail. That is already handled.
Anger.
Your sister, I'm assuming, has informed me that we did find your daughter. And we do have the gentleman as well that she was currently with.
I mean, if your gut happens to accidentally go off, he loses his phone in space, I'm not going to complain.
So question, you are wanting to prosecute, correct? Given I already know the statement, but yes.
To the full extent of the law.
that's holding on to. You really have no idea. You will go to jail.
Nothing can happen. Custody exchange is already handled.
Promise you that.
That promise is now part of the permanent record. And the record is where this story turns into something far darker than a simple missing persons case. The girl's first statement to investigators should have stopped everything cold. She said she went downstairs to grab clothes from her mother's car.
The other night, whenever I was going downstairs to grab clothes, I literally woke up in the back of the car.
So how did you gotta understand, how did you end up in his car?
I don't.
You don't remember?
I don't remember if I went into his car willingly or not.
Because this sounds more like to me like he kidnapped you.
I literally wasn't let out.
Then she'd woke up in the back of a vehicle. She did not remember getting in. She did not remember consenting. She remembered a silver car parked near her home. She remembered being handed a water bottle.
I remember opening my car door and seeing that same silver car from my school parked next to my house in the apartment area. And I didn't see anybody inside of the car, so I was like, that maybe it's a different car, but because my memory is kind of foggy from then. But I remember getting handed a water bottle and being very dizzy.
She remembered feeling very dizzy. The detective said the words plainly. This sounds more like he kidnapped you.
Or not.
Because this sounds more like to me like he kidnapped you.
I literally wasn't let out till just now.
You weren't let out of this house?
Yeah, I was not allowed out of the house till just now.
When you say let out, what do you mean? Somebody locked the door?
He had a lock on the door all the time.
She will soon give detectives a sinister depiction of what she says took place over the course of those 5 days. But first, they are greeted by the suspect in question.
Hello.
Yeah, I just came outside to see what's the situation.
Her answer was not a denial. I literally was not let out until just now. She said she was not allowed out of the house. She said there was a lock on the door all the time. Not a metaphor, not a feeling, a lock on the outside of the bedroom. That is where the forensic fury begins, because the state had every tool to act, and the state walked away. Here is the moral refrain for this case. Remember the lock. Remember the lock. Remember the lock. The suspect's own words are the second exhibit. Edward Rummel, 24 years old. He met a child on an app called Wiz. He told her to say she was 20.
At any point, did you tell him how old you were?
Yes, ma'am. But he kept telling me to say that I was 20 to his parents and everybody else.
How old did your Wiz profile say you were?
I don't remember. I'm pretty sure I put I was older.
And then as far as when she told you her age, what was that on?
Well, Wiz says she's 20 on Wiz.
Edward claims to have just learned of her real age when the girl's aunt arrived at the home.
You guys exchanged pictures with each other?
Picture how?
Any kind of pictures.
He told her to lie to his parents. He told her he was 17 at first.
He told me he was younger than what I found out he actually was at first. At first, he told me that he was 17.
She initially used a friend's phone to message Edward after her own had been taken away by her mother. According to police reports, this was due to the teenager conversating with males older than her in an inappropriate manner. She would later switch communication methods to her school-issued computer. However, what she says began as a normal conversation between her and Edward.
Then he told her he wanted her to have his kid.
He was talking about how he wanted to get me pregnant and how he wanted to feel up on me and all that.
What did you say to that?
I was like, you're making me really uncomfortable and I'm not okay with that.
You said, I want you to have my kid.
Yeah, that's just something I do when I guess I'm falling in love. Always wanted to be a dad.
According to the teen, Edward even appeared outside her school one day as students were being dismissed. She recalls seeing him in a silver car, but says that they never spoke.
He said that was just something he did when he was falling in love. He said he always wanted to be a dad. That is the cognitive dissonance. A father does not install a lock on the outside of a child's door. A father does not instruct a child to falsify her age. A father does not appear outside her school in a silver car and then pretend it was coincidence. He rented a hotel room. he checked in alone. 3 hours later, the child was with him. She said she tried to tell him to stop. She said he overpowered her. She said he removed her clothing. She said he got on top of her.
I removed my clothing, and then he got on top of me. I tried telling him to stop, and it didn't work, and he overpowered me.
And during that time, did you guys engage in anything, any activity or anything? Explain that to me.
We had pretty much.
And what happened then?
I asked her, I didn't ask her. I told her I'm gonna take her back to the house. She told me that she didn't want to go because of the consequences.
That is not a relationship. That is a crime scene with a keycard. The ticking clock moment is this. What happens when a 15-year-old wakes up in a locked room 250 miles from home and realizes that the only person who knows where she is the man who locked the door? That is not a runaway scenario. That is a national security level of vulnerability for a child. Because if no one had found her, if the aunt had not done what law enforcement could not, that lock would have held. And the next time she appeared in a public record, it might have been as a different kind of file, a coroner's report, a missing persons poster with a different date, a statistic. The consequence angle is not hyperbolic. It is arithmetic. A child who cannot open a door is a child who cannot save herself. The parallel narrative is just as damning. Edward's mother lived in that house. The girl said the mother would ask where she was going. The girl would say she was going home. The mother would say wait for him to come back so he can drive you. The girl said the door would be unlocked for a moment, then locked again. She said he flipped the handles while she slept.
If you left the house, like if the mom was there and you wanted to leave, were you able to?
No, ma'am.
How come?
Because I wouldn't have a way to get out. Like, I could go outside, but she'd always be like, oh, well, where are you going? And then I'd be like, I'm going home. And she was like, how are you going to get there? Just wait for him to come back and so he can drive you.
But he was on the phone with you said, right? So
Yes,
he
ma'am.
heard
But-
everything?
Well, I left the phone in the room at one point because somebody had, like, the door was unlocked, so I went to go use the restroom, and his mom's like, oh, we'll come out and eat and all that. And then I went back in the room, and then I fell asleep. But as I went to go back to see if, like, the door was unlocked, it was not. The door was locked again. But then whenever he would get home, he'd have it the right way. Like, he'd leave, and he'd basically flip the handles, I guess, while I was asleep or something.
He flipped the handles to lock you inside the bedroom?
Yes, ma'am.
The aunt said it directly. You mean to tell me that none of them could tell that she is not 20 years old? She does not look 20. She does not act 20. She is not mentally 20.
You mean to tell me that none of them could tell that she ain't 20 years old? I mean, come on. She doesn't look 20. She don't act 20. She don't... Like, she's not mentally 20. She's not anything 20.
The subject of the teenager's age would soon resurface after detectives uncovered another bizarre exchange of messages.
She said the cops are at the door. How come you said this? Remember, you're 20. You're an
Because
adult.
before that conversation, her mom, she told me that she called her sister, and that apparently she said that her mom would come and look for her with the cops.
But she was going to get kicked out. Why would her mom come look for her?
I have no clue. And she didn't open the door. She said she was scared.
This may have been when police arrived for the welfare check. However, the girl tells investigators she doesn't remember hearing or seeing them. But as both sides continue to contradict one another, detectives are eager for the truth.
What if I read all the emails between you two? Would it show that you planned?
The family chose not to see it. That is not ignorance. That is participation. And it is captured in the most banal detail of all. A doorknob, installed backward. In a house with a mother and brothers. Nobody fixed it. Nobody questioned it. Nobody unlocked it. The hard evidence is in the messages. Edward texted her. Remember, you are 20.
It's right at the door. How come you said this? Remember, you're 20. You're an
Because
adult.
before that conversation, she told me that she called her sister, and that apparently she said that her mom would come and look for her with the cops.
But she was gonna get kicked out. Why would her mom come look for her?
I have no clue. And she didn't open the door. She said she was scared.
This may have been when police arrived for the welfare check. However, the girl tells investigators she doesn't remember hearing or seeing them. But as both sides continue to contradict one another, detectives are eager for the truth.
What if I read
He
all?
texted that after he knew police were looking, he coached her. He rehearsed her. He told her to lie. The girl said she was told if she tried to call anyone, it would just get worse for her. She was given a phone. She could not hang up. She could not call her mother. She could not call 911.
Wow.
You've been in contact with your mom since you've been at his house?
No, ma'am.
No, so you haven't spoke to anybody since you've been there?
No, ma'am.
Did he give you a phone?
Yeah, but he was constantly talking to me on it. I couldn't hang up.
Did you ever call your mom on it?
No, sir.
Did you ever try to call 911 on it?
No, sir. I was told if I tried to call anybody like that, then it'd just get worse for me.
You live with your mom too?
Correct.
And she was okay with this girl coming and staying?
She didn't give me a response to it. She just knew about it.
The teenager tells of another chilling detail, explaining why
She was in a house where the only communication device was monitored by the man who locked the door. That is not rescue. That is hostage taking with extra steps. And the state of Florida had all of this. The police report, the interviews, the surveillance footage of the hotel, the messages, the lock, the child's account, the man's own admission, and then the state attorney declined to proceed. Not a jury, not a judge. A prosecutor looked at this file and decided it was not worth a trial. That is not justice delayed. That is justice deleted.
They'd be like, oh, well, why don't you just be my girlfriend and have my baby and all that? And I was like, I don't want to date you. I don't want to be here. I want to go home.
I just don't want to be in this situation, you know what I mean?
According to court documents, Edward was initially charged with lewd and lascivious battery of a victim 12 to 16 years of age, lewd or lascivious, and computer. He pleaded not guilty to all charges. However, the state attorney declined to proceed with the case. Watch our full videos as they were originally made, with no randomly muted words or details cut. We've also dropped brand new EWU videos available only on EWU Plus. Available now on iOS, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, and Google TV. Download EWU Plus and see what you've been missing.
The unanswered question is the one the public record cannot close. The state attorney's office in Florida has the power to file charges on behalf of a child victim. They had a confession. They had corroborating physical evidence. They had a timeline. They had a witness who was alive only because her aunt drove across the state. So here is the question for you. Go to the Florida State Attorney's Office website for the 17th Judicial Circuit. Find the Public Records page. Look for the case disposition of Edward Rummel. Then ask yourself one direct question. What changed between the arrest and the declination? Because the public has a right to know what a prosecutor saw in that file that made a locked door and a drugged child and a 24-year-old man's admission into something not worth pursuing. Put your answer in the comments. Be specific. Be sourced. Be relentless. Remember the lock. If this analysis gave you a new way to see the gap between what was officially said and what actually happened, then like this video. Share it with someone who still believes that a dropped case means an innocent man, and subscribe to Police Bodycam Legal Analysis so you never miss the evidence the system hopes you forget. Turn on notifications. The next case is already in the files.